So Dion Cole knows why I'm playing this track from Stephanie Mills. When I saw the video footage of him on the Breakfast Club the other day, I texted Stephanie and told her I was jealous. I did not appreciate what Dion Cole got. So, Dion, for those who've not seen it, tell the audience why I'm playing Stephanie Mills, man.
Because that's my girl. That's my girl. She surprised me on the Breakfast Club and came in and told me off and gave me a kiss. Well, not told me off. She just was asking me a question and then gave me a kiss. Did vintage woman style.
There you go already. I love in your stand-up how you use the word vintage all the time. Vintage woman. I love that. We'll let you unpack that as we move through this hour. But it is rare. I've had this happen to me a number of times in my career. But no matter how good we are, how blessed we are to be good at what we do, every now and then we get upstaged and we are speechless. We get caught off guard. It was actually funny for millions of people to watch Stephanie Mills just shut you down.
Yeah, but that's what a lot of women do, man. A lot of older women, with younger men, they'll stop you in your tracks.
Yeah. No, she did. If you have not seen the footage of Dion Cole on the Breakfast Club the other day, in the middle of an interview, and Stephanie Mills just walks in. Well, she didn't just walk. She sashayed. I think that's an accurate way to put it, Dion. She sashayed into the room and put it on him, and that Negro was just flummoxed and didn't know what to say or do, and it was funny to watch Stephanie Mills get Dion Cole, since Dion Cole gets everybody else. And speaking of getting everybody else, I am pleased to be joined in this hour, of course, by the comedian and actor and good friend Dion Cole to celebrate his new Netflix comedy special. It's called OK Mister. And before we go any further, here now some sound from the Netflix special OK Mister, featuring one Dion Cole.
When black people cheat, like we dip off with somebody else, we like to go to white establishments. Because we know ain't no black people there to see us. I was with this girl one day. She was like, "Why you got me at this medieval castle?" You said you was open-minded, right? Well, put that crown on, eat that turkey leg, and shut the up.
I'm getting, Dion, just that fast, I'm getting all kinds of messages on social media, on text. I'm just glancing at my phone right quick. I'm getting all kind of messages from those vintage women that you often talk about, and you do indeed talk about them in this special. And they like that. They like that label, vintage. Tell me how you came up with that.
First of all, before we start, I just want to say something real quick. We were supposed to do this interview before, and I want to apologize to all your listeners out there because I had the times mixed up, and I didn't make it. And I know that you was on here, doing what you had to do until I got on, and I want to sincerely apologize to your fan base about that, if that's cool.
That is very cool, and you're a good guy to say it. I wasn't gonna go there. I'm glad you did. I receive it.
No. I just want to put it out there.
Put it out there. No, man. Stuff happens. Stuff happens, and I get it.
Stuff does happen. Yeah, you got to be prepared for that and everything. But I also have never been cussed out like that in my life by anybody but you. And I want to say, don't you ever in your natural life talk to me like that ever again. There's gonna be some problems when
I will tell you this.
I said, who do we think he is talking to right now?
Let me say this, Dion Cole.
The whole south side of Chicago on your ass.
Yeah, I realized once I went in, I said, this Negro is from the south side of Chicago. Maybe I went a little too hard on Dion Cole, expressing my disappointment that he didn't make it on time. But I tell you this, if you had not made it today, and actually thought about starting by just running the list of all the things I've seen you on. Negro, I done seen you on the Breakfast Club. I saw you on Club Shay Shay. I said he better get his black behind over here today, and he better be on time.
No, I apologize. Things happen. The only interview out of every interview was yours that I was late for, and I apologize.
And I thought you loved me, Deion Cole. I thought I was your boy, man.
I love you. I love you to death, but don't you ever talk to me like that. Another day in your black life, dude. I swear to you. I was like, oh no, I'm gonna make this interview.
We'll call. Okay, we'll call it even.
I'm about to tell his ass.
We'll call it even. We'll call it even.
We even now. Okay,
all right. Even Steven. Now back to Vint. With matter of fact, hold that thought. We done got so deep into it. I got to pause for a second here. When we come forward, we will let Deion Cole unpack this term, vintage. I love it, and apparently a bunch of black women love it too. They don't mind being called vintage by Deion Cole in his stand-up. It's called Okay Mister. It's streaming right now on Netflix. I'm honored and delighted to have my friend Deion Cole on Tavis Smiley.
Interrogating and unpacking. That's what we do around here. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Standing up for everyday Americans is at the very foundation of who Kamala Harris is. Raised in a middle-class home by a working mother who instilled in her a passion for justice and equality. That's why when Kamala Harris became district attorney, she stood up for our kids, keeping them safe by prosecuting sex offenders. She also pioneered a program to give nonviolent drug offenders a second chance. As president, Kamala Harris will continue the fight for everyday Americans. She's already lowered the cost of your health insurance and medications. Insulin is now capped at $35 for seniors. But there's more to do because mortgages, rents, groceries, and utility bills are still too high. Harris's plan to fix it? Build more homes to lower prices and make the wealthy and billionaires pay their fair share so we get a break. All her life, Kamala Harris has been standing up for us, and she doesn't plan to stop anytime soon.
I'm Kamala Harris, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Harris for president.
From the first day of kindergarten through the day they graduate high school, in California, 38% of students attend a public school that fails to meet minimum health standards. That's why we need Prop 2. Voting yes on Prop 2 will fund urgent repairs at local schools, protect kids from toxic mold, asbestos, and lead, ensure clean drinking water, and repair leaky ceilings and storm damage. Yes on Prop 2. To fix what's actually broken. All funds go to local schools without raising taxes. You heard that right. So join the California NAACP, nurses and teachers, and vote yes on 2. Because all our kids deserve a safe place to learn. Ad paid for by Yes on Prop 2, sponsored by Nonprofit Education, Labor and Business Associations. Ad committee's top funders, California Building Industry Association, Coalition for Adequate School Housing, California Teachers Association.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Helping to make you the most knowledgeable person in your circle of friends. This is Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Deion Cole, comedian and actor who is celebrating his new Netflix comedy special, Okay Mister, which I've seen twice now. Thought it was pretty funny, hilarious, in fact. And before I get to the vintage thing, let me say this first, Deion. I study people, and of course I've studied you over the course of your career, and have great respect and regard for what you have done and are doing. We'll talk about what it means to be part part of that pantheon of great comedians from the Windy City as we move through this hour. I still miss Bernie Mac to this day. I just miss that Negro. But everybody presents differently. Comedians have their own flow. I was watching you in your special OK Mister one night while I was also checking out Cat Williams' latest, Love Cat. And it's fascinating to watch the two of you back to back because Cat is a physical comedian. This Negro is turning flips, as you know, running back and forth across the stage. Cat just can't stand still. You, on the other hand, you stand in front of that mic and you kill it. Both of y'all deliver. It was fascinating on this particular night just watching your styles, stylistically, how different you and Cat were and are, and other comedians for that matter. But just talk to me about your about that part when you're on stage, how your groove is just to stand right there. And as a matter of fact, there's a joke that comes up about it in the stand-up. But tell me about that part, your style.
Yeah, it's man. I just figured, it's I like to go against the grain sometimes and do something that's really not being done or whatever, but that's also natural to me where I'm not forcing myself and it's something I'm out of character doing or whatever, and that's something that a lot of people, I mean, I ain't gonna say a lot of comics can't do that because they can or whatever, but it's the way that I do it. I just felt like it was a very unique way of delivering, material. Martin Lawrence, he calls me a sniper. That's what he always feel like. I do some dates with Martin while he on tour, and he always be like, man, he like a sniper of comedy. He always be like, you stand in one spot and and I was like, that's the best analogy example that I heard, I was like, yeah, I guess so, whatever. So yeah, it's just, my style, man. Everybody got their different styles or whatever, and I guess that's just mine,
No,
and I used to move around a lot. I used to do that.
Right.
I think I just, in my older age, I've been like, let me just stay right here and say what I got.
In my older age, leave it to Martin. Leave it to Martin Lawrence to come up with the right term. That's it. I mean, he's got it. Sniper is the right word. You stand still and you firing off, man, and you're killing it. Yeah, I love it. All right, so now back to vintage. I'm looking again at all these messages from all these women about this term vintage. Tell me how that became a part of the repertoire.
Man, I was talking to this woman one day, older, beautiful black woman, silver hair, embracing it too. Like she was like, I would never color my hair ever. Like, I mean, just standing on hers, She was just talking and she was like, yeah, they not ready for vintage women out here. She was like, she said, vintage women are the new age. And she was like, and if you don't get it, you're going to miss it. And I just was like, vintage? I was like, I'm in love. And it's true, man. Like, if you really think about it, everything you learned was from an older woman. Like everything, an older vintage woman, and that's what she was telling me. She was like, man, you learn everything from us. And I'm like, yeah, you do. You learn from your mother, you learn from your grandmother, you learn if you date an older woman, you're gonna learn from them too, whatever. So she just was like, she said that, and then I went with it. I went with it every day after that,
Yeah, no, you work it, man. You work that vintage thing. Let me ask you this. And this is inside baseball, but that's me. I'm fascinated by the backstory. We see what you do and how well you do it, but it's the backstory that always gets me. So tell me more about how. And this is my read, and you can push back on this. If I'm wrong, you can disabuse me of this notion. But as I've followed your career and watched you do your stand-up, everybody has their own thing, but you have at the epicenter of what you do so well, in terms of subject matter, women and relationships. Now, if you think I'm missing that, then tell me. But that's how I read your comedy, your stand-up, at least, that you stand on that mic like a sniper. You don't move, but you just grind and grind and grind on this notion of women, relationships. That is it's the epicenter of the best, I think, of your comedy. Tell me, one, if I'm right or wrong about that from your perspective, and number two, if I'm right, how did that become your thing?
I think it's a portion of it.
Yeah.
My comedy is broken down to like when I do specials, the majority of the time it's broken down to like three different categories.
Right.
You know, definitely a relationship portion, but then you also have, you know, just a relatable portion where we just talking and me just doing jokes and written jokes, whether it be stories, whether it be whatever it is. You know, that I do that portion. Then I have a portion where I go to my notepad and I go to
Yes.
jokes. I go to jokes that I don't really like. Half of them I know work, and the other half I don't know work.
Right.
And I'm from the school of where not being funny is funny, and that's my style of comedy. A bomb joke is just as good as a joke that kills. You know, to me, it's just how you deliver it and how honest you are about it. You know, and so I purposely have jokes that don't work in my set so we can laugh about it, you know? And so those are like the three entities of a set that I normally have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I want to come back to the note. I want to come back to this.
Relationship is cool. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry to cut you off. I hear you.
No, go ahead.
No, so I want to come back to the notepad in a second because I love how okay, Mister, you kind of close with that. You saved the notepad piece for the last part of the stand-up. So I'll come back to the notepad in a second here. But I'm fascinated now by this comment you made a moment ago. Now I'm talking to the philosopher Dion Cole. So break down, Mr. Philosopher, break down this notion of not being funny as funny. I get it, and I never thought about it in that way. It works, so you're making me rethink something here. But tell me more about this notion of not being funny as funny.
Have you ever walked in a comedy club or heard something that was so corny, you laughed at it because of how corny it was? Like you laughing now.
Yeah,
like, it's more like the audacity.
Yeah.
Why would you say this? It's like it's funny. You see, I think people and comedians get caught up into how one laughs. That ain't the goal for me. The goal for me is you laughing. You know, I don't get caught up in how you laugh. I get caught up in you laughing and you releasing and you thinking. And that's what I get caught up in. So while everybody wants you to laugh a certain way at a certain age, my thing is just laugh. And I'm going to go another way to make you laugh, different than any other comic. And so I think the people that come pay a ticket to come see me, they know that they're going to witness that. They know they're going to see something refreshing. They're going to see something out of character. And we're going to go on a ride and we're going to have a good time, you know?
So one day, this is years ago, Dion, I think you'll appreciate this. One day on a dare, at a sort of celebrity thing, I did a tight five. Yes, Tavis Smiley. I did a tight five, got up on stage. I worked with a couple of comedian friends of mine to help me write my jokes. But at this event, and I hope there's no tape of this circulating around, but I got up. I did a tight five. It worked. People laughed. I think they in part were laughing. It's like, man, this is Tavis Smiley telling jokes. So it worked for 5 minutes, and I got off the stage. But I've never forgotten that moment because I suspect the answer to this question would be different for any comedian. But whether you're being funny because you're being funny or because you're being funny because the joke ain't funny, either way, to your point, you're making people laugh. How would you describe what it feels like? And I want to go just a little deeper here. What it feels like to stand on a stage with nothing but material and make this audience gut bucket laugh. That there's a level of control there that always fascinates me. I mean, it's the same with music artists. They get on stage and with their voice, with their instrumentation, they control this crowd. But the comedy thing is always fascinating for me because it's just you and this microphone. But you are working this audience. What's that feel like when the stuff that comes out of your mouth gives you the desired result? To your earlier point, is that you got a whole crowd of people laughing at what you said.
Yeah, it's a feeling like you never felt before. And those who tried it and did it and experienced it, they know it. That's why comedians can sleep in a car and work 18 hours and drive another 3 hours to only do 3 minutes. There's a reason. There's a reason why that comic is doing that. It's those 3 minutes to perform on stage. That feeling is worth him sleeping in his car, him working 18 hours, and him driving another 2 hours to go do a spot. Mm-hmm. Like, that's how crazy that feeling is, you know. And I feel as though it's not like really a control thing like that. I think it's just more therapeutic. Mm-hmm. You know, it's for us to get things off of our minds and chest that we think about, that we want to ask as many people as possible what they think about it as well. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's almost like a therapy session. Comedy shows are like therapy sessions. Mm-hmm. You all are the shrinks, and we go up there and say what's on our minds, you know. And people pay to hear who they want to, who problems they want to hear. Like,
I never thought about it in that way. I never thought of myself as a shrink at a comedy show. But I take your point, though.
Audience is a shrink, man.
Yeah, I get it.
And you talk, and you know, it's you know, that's what it is.
Yeah, I get it. So many of the greats, and obviously at the top of that list for me, the GOAT, Richard Pryor. But so many of the greats, their comedy comes from, as you well know, dark spaces, dark places. I've never gotten that sense with you, but maybe I'm misreading something.
Oh yeah, no, I grew up so poor, dude. Like, looking back at it, that's why, like, with my mom, I went so hard for her because I didn't realize until later on what she did. Mm-hmm. You know, because in the moment it was so much love. I didn't even know I was poor like that. Like, I had no idea that putting our food on the windowsill to keep it cold was like our refrigerator, and hopefully ain't no birds come and mess with our stuff. And, like, for real, like, that's how we lived. And running an extension cord over so we had this hot skillet that we'll plug up, and we'll boil water and put that in a pot, and then put some more cold water with that, and then wash up with it. Like, none of that bothered me. Like, none of that, because that was just what we had to do. You know, it's just like people in Africa, how they go walk 6 miles and get a bucket of water and come back. It's just normal. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's normal way of living. And then when you get older, you start seeing everybody else with refrigerators and things like that. You be like, not like you don't know what a refrigerator is. I know what a refrigerator is, but us not having one didn't bother me, you know, until it became about me getting older and learning about status and money and people. And then when that started, you know, flooding my brain, then I start feeling embarrassed. Yeah. And I start feeling like, yo, wait a minute, what are we doing? Yeah. And feeling that kind of resentment or whatever. Yeah. And then later on, I start going, man, but this woman was doing whatever she could for me. She could have gave me up, you know? Yeah. And it was like, wow, all right, I'm going hard. This is my end all be all. I'm about to pay her back for any and everything she ever did. You ain't gonna need nobody. And that was my goal, like, constantly. Yeah. And so that was my that was my thing. That was my rush, you know, to be great this, to make sure she was good. Yeah. You know.
I'm looking at my clock here. If I ask you this question now, you're only going to have like 30 seconds to respond. Let me just tee this up, and then we come forward. You'll have another 30 minutes. We can dig a little deeper here. So I was thinking in preparation for our conversation last night, let me just back up and say this. I had a guest on this program a few weeks ago, Dion, who has a book out, and I think the book is called We Are the Culture. It's a bold pronouncement, but written by a Chicagoan. That won't surprise you. And the book is We Are the Culture. And the author, a sister, lays out in detail why and how she makes her argument that Chicago is the culture. When you read the book, it's kind of hard to argue that. When you just start with music alone, in every genre of music, as I've said many times, you can't fade Chicago. I mean, just run the list in jazz, in blues, in hip-hop, in R&B, in gospel. I can stop there, but just run the list. There is no city in this country that has produced a greater pantheon of artists, black artists, in those categories than Chicago. That's just music. And then there's fashion and a thousand other things we could get to. But the book is called, I think, We Are the Culture, and it's about, of course, the city of Chicago. I was thinking last night in preparation for our dialogue today about all the great comedians from Chicago. And let me just do this. You can go from Bob Newhart to Bernie Mac. That's an expanse for you. From Bob Newhart to Bernie Mac. Deon Cole is in that pantheon. We'll talk about, as he is now, what it was like for him growing up in Chicago and how he processes being a part of that group of great comedians, great artists from the city of Chicago, and a great deal more to get to. I ain't got to the notepad. I haven't got his reflections looking back on Blackish. There's a great deal more to talk about as we celebrate Deon Cole's new Netflix comedy special. It's called OK Mister. More with Deon Cole when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
For all the freedom-loving folk, this is Tavis Smiley.
I feel like
Paid for by government.com. Did you know the United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time? Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
I'm Ray Harris, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Hurricane Milton is disrupting travel as it approaches expected landfall. Hundreds of flights have been canceled, and Tampa's International Airport is closed. Theme parks and cruise lines have also canceled trips and adjusted their schedules as Floridians brace for the powerful storm. More than 50 counties are under a state of emergency, with tens of thousands ordered to evacuate. The Las Vegas Strip will look just a little bit different. The iconic Tropicana Casino Hotel was imploded overnight. The controlled demolition took just over 22 seconds. The Oakland Athletics future baseball stadium will be built on the current Tropicana site. And that's the latest. I'm Ray Harris on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice: continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
Is this the Dodgers? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Dodgers are on the brink of a third consecutive elimination in the divisional playoffs. They lost 6-5 to the Padres in San Diego in Game 3. The Padres are up 2-1 in the best of 5. The Dodgers offense broke down after the third inning. No runs and only one hit. A must-win Game 4 for the Dodgers tonight. USC women's basketball star Juju Watkins has signed a multi-year extension with Nike. The new contract, which includes a signature shoe deal for Watkins, is one of the highest paid endorsement deals in the history of women's basketball. Watkins, who grew up in Watts, is getting ready for her sophomore season at USC. The New York Liberty will face the Minnesota Lynx in the WNBA Finals. Game 1 in the best of 5 is Thursday night in Brooklyn. The Liberty are going for their first WNBA championship. Minnesota is going for number 5. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
We must understand the politics of our community, and we must know what part politics play in our lives.
Questions about black voters, their disengagement, lack of information, and support or lack thereof for Democratic candidates have once again taken center stage as Democrats, Republicans, and independent candidates compete for this critical voting bloc. Will black voters abandon Democrats in this election, move historic numbers of votes toward the Republican nominee, or will they continue a decades-long trend of overperforming for Democratic candidates up and down the ballot? The stakes have never been higher for Black America. Tune in to KBLA's new show, The Black Pack, hosted by veteran political strategist Adrian Shropshire, every Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. for a breakdown of the issues, rhetoric, polling, and more this election year. It's The Black Pack with Adrian Shropshire, Fridays from 4 to 6 p.m. exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
My friends swim no matter the season, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now, thanks to Skyrizi and clear skin, count me in. With Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Made fresh daily in Leimert Park, Los Angeles, California. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Dion Cole, comedian and actor who is celebrating the success of a new Netflix comedy special called OK Mister. If you have not checked it out, do yourself a favor. You want some good laughs about vintage women and 1,000 other things, check out Dion Cole. The notepad section is always hilarious for me. We'll talk about that as we move through this hour. But before I push forward, though, Dion, I want to just pause or pivot, or more accurately, just make a U-turn for a quick second here before we push ahead. I was thinking about this as you were just talking. I was sitting here very quietly, of course, listening to you talk about your mom and the way that you were raised. And it reminded me of a prior Netflix special you did, you know where I'm going, called Charlene's Boy. Your mom's name was Charlene, and the Netflix special, for those Dion Cole fans out there, you saw it. It's called Charlene's Boy. And I want to just read something that Dion said at the time about having done that special, Charlene's Boy. My mom was everything, my everything. I am the only child, and there are no brothers and sisters, no father, and she was everything to me. She still is. Everything I did was for her. We talk every day. When things didn't work out, she made it work out. She was a praying woman. She made things happen that I never thought would happen. I would pray and have faith and all of that. For that to be taken away from me, and I'm still to this day hurting from this situation, and it's only been a year since she passed. And so with this special, I wanted to make sure that she lives forever, but naming the title after her wasn't even my goal. Those are words from Dion Cole in 2022 about the special Charlene's Boy. I'm sharing that, Dion, because I want you just to reflect on that special and whether or not it accomplished what you achieved, and just reading those words of you talking about your mama. Every one of us, certainly as black men, want to make our mamas proud. My mama's listening right now, back in the Midwest in Indiana, and every day I wake up, that's my goal. Can I make my mama proud of me today? That's still my goal all these years later. But just share some reflections on that special, whether or not it did what you wanted it to do.
Yeah. So when you do these specials, you know ahead of time where you're gonna shoot it at.
Mm-hmm.
You know what place you're gonna shoot it at and all of that. So what you would do is you wouldn't tour there. Whatever city that is where you know you're gonna do your special at, you're not gonna tour there because you're gonna shoot your special there and you're gonna do that material for that special at that place. So you want to save that place. When we were doing the deal with Netflix, it was a lot going on, and they wasn't like getting back to us right away. And so I still was touring and doing these dates, and I was doing like every city under the sun, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so finally they came back with a date, and I was like, okay, cool. I was like, well, when you guys want me to shoot? And they was like in September, and I was like, I don't really want to do nothing in September because I knew that was the month my mother had passed prior. And so they was like, yeah, well, we got to shoot in September because we got everything else locked in. So I was like, all right, forget it. I was like, find a place for me to shoot at later on in September, towards the end of September, not the beginning of September. I'm going to be a wreck. They're like, all right, cool. They looked around and they found one place. And the only state that I haven't performed in was New York. New York was the only place because I kept performing because we didn't touch down until later on. And so the only place that I didn't perform was Chicago and New York.
Mm-hmm.
And they found a place in New York, in Brooklyn. And it was the King's Theater in Brooklyn.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I was like, okay, I'll shoot there. And they was like, yeah. And they was like, the only date they have available is September 10th.
Ooh.
That's the day my mother.
Oh, yeah, I know that.
And they said that when they said that, I said out of the whole month, they was like, yeah. I said, I can't shoot. I said, there's no way I'm gonna be able to shoot. And they was like, why? And I wouldn't tell them. I just was like, look, let's just try to find another month, or let's wait until next year. And they was like, so my people came to me and they was like, man, you want to push it? And I was like, yeah, let's just push it. I was like, I'm not performing on a year later on the day that she passed. Like, I'm just not gonna be able to do that. I think about 3 days went by later, and something just came over me, man. I was like, I don't know if it was her or I don't know, but it was something that was just like, nah, don't run from that date. Embrace her on that date. Celebrate her on that date. And you use that day because there was no other places. We kept looking for other places.
Mm-hmm.
It was nothing. And everything was booked up or whatever, or it was too expensive or whatever. And so my mom was just like, man, just make this about her, embrace this date, and go out there and celebrate her. And I remember when I shot that, man, I cried all the way up until I walked out. When I walked out, I had just wiped my face, and in order to go perform or whatever. And so I changed the name of it, and I just embraced it and made it about her. And I just kept thinking to myself, like, she'll live forever in this special. And not only that, people will call me Charlene's boy, you know, from the special, and her name would just ring forever like that. And I just kept thinking that. And I was like, you know what? The title is very simple, but it's very heartfelt. People can feel that. And every man is their mama's boy. And I just was like, you know what? I'm gonna run with that. And let's just do it. And man, it went out, and a lot of people, like, I didn't even realize how many people were dealing with like death. Like, I mean, I'm quite sure everybody's dealing with death, but the amount of love and support, and people who needed love and support that reached out to me, and still to this day is reaching out to me, really makes me think that there's something that's needed, especially in the Black community, where there's some type of organization or there's some type of treatment for people that's dealing with death. There's people in the hood that's dealing with death, and they have to bottle it up inside, and people still try to treat them normal. And you got to suppress the way that you feel in order to stay as normal as possible, because your friends don't really want to be with you if you ain't who you was when y'all became friends. You get what I'm saying? So if you change, now they really don't want to be with you because you don't satisfy what they need you to do to satisfy them. So you know your real friends when you deal with death, because if you change, they should change with you and understand you going through something. But a lot of people are very selfish, man. And you can tell who it is because they won't allow you to change. They keep going, what's wrong with you? when you going, I just had my foundation rocked. What do you mean what's wrong with me? And they going, because they selfishly going, why aren't you the way that I want you to be or the way that I need you to be? And so that special has taught me how to deal with people, clean my circle out. The ones that's gonna be there, they're gonna be there. The love and support that we all need. It's called the 50 Club. They said people in their 50s, most people who hit 50 or almost at 50 or over 50, that's when a lot of people like lose their parents, and they call it the 50 Club because our parents are like in their 70s and 80s at the time. And so there's like right around there, you know, that happens. And I was right around 50 when that happened. I couldn't believe it when that happened, you know, but I when I heard that 50 Club, I was like, wow, you know, and I don't try to like, you know, manifest things in that nature or whatever, but some things is just science. It is what it is. And the calculations is if you're 50 years old, your parents is 70 or 80, then yeah, that's just how life goes. And so I had to embrace that, man. And, you know, it's as hard as it is, I think about what my auntie said. My auntie was like, you got to start eating. You got to start like really enjoying yourself. Cause I was like a wreck when it happened. Cause I didn't just lose my mother. I lost my auntie, my two uncles, and my mom and best friend all within 6 months or whatever. And they was like, yo, my aunt was like, if you had the chance to bring her back, would you? And it just struck me a certain way where I was like, I mean, yeah. And they was like, why? Why would you bring her back down here where it's war and diseases? And this was right around the pandemic. It's like the pandemic. And you really would bring her back here? And it just resonated with me where I was like, man, I guess not. And she was like taking medicine and she's not be able to like really walk that well. Like, would you? And that was like the best advice that I had to help me cope with this every day and just be like, you know, man, she in a better place and this is my new normal. And I'm just going to make sure everything that I do, she lived through it.
Obviously, I do not know when I ask questions what the answers are going to be, but I am so grateful that Deon Cole indulged me in responding to that question. More with Deon Cole when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
From Leimert Park with love, this is Tavis Smiley.
Vice President Kamala Harris.
I get it. The cost of rent, groceries, and utilities is too high. So here's what we're going to do about it. We will lower housing costs by building more homes and crack down on landlords who are charging too much. We will lower your food and grocery bills by going after price gougers who are keeping the cost of everyday goods too high.
Kamala Harris's economic plan is focused on lowering costs for families, so you can keep more of your paycheck. That starts with the cost of housing. For first-time homebuyers, she's offering $25,000 in down payment assistance. To build wealth, her plan offers up to $50,000 in new startup tax deductions. This is exactly how we can build generational wealth and strengthen our community, so we can get the chance to do more than just get by, but to get ahead.
You work hard for your paycheck. You should get to keep more of it. As president, I'll make that my top priority. I'm Kamala Harris, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Harris for President.
Tavis Smiley's new book, The Covenant with Black America, 20 years later, is now on sale everywhere. This classic text shot to #1 on the New York Times bestsellers list almost 2 decades ago. If you have the original book, you will surely want to get this 20th anniversary edition with powerful new contributions from today's leading voices. This 20th anniversary edition presents a compelling blend of historical insights and contemporary urgency in this critical and unprecedented election year. Get your copy of The Covenant with Black America 20 years later today.
I'm Jeff Davis. I believe my daughter should inherit something, but not the role and responsibility of burying me. That's why I have a pre-need burial insurance plan through Harrison Ross Mortuary. Their plan offers me 4 payment options. 1, pay in advance or pay over 3, 5, or 10-year time periods to keep the payments affordable. Contact the professionals today at Harrison Ross Mortuary. We can be reached at area code 310-704-4901. That's 310-704-4901. And ask for me, Jeff Davis. Thank you.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well-trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up.
Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone, and should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
Let's get back to more of this rich dialogue with Tavis Smiley.
Deion Cole, I'm still marinating on that response and that story you just shared. I'm grateful again for you indulging that question, and I'm gonna hold on to that for the rest of the day. There's a lot to unpack, brother. You went deep on that thing because you're right. A whole lot of folk, and that's the joy. We're circling back to what we were talking about earlier. I was saying earlier, asking you about what it feels like to be on stage, and you didn't like the word control. I respect that, but just the way that you make this audience move. To be able to listen to you in the last few minutes, just break that down. I lost my father earlier this year, and I'm still wrestling with that, man. So I know that what you just shared was what somebody, including yours truly, needed to hear on this particular day. So thank you for taking that question. So one other thing about Chicago, and I'll move on here. I want to just talk about Blackish and a few other things before I lose you in 10 minutes at the top of the hour. So my time is getting tight. But have you ever processed what it means to be? I want to use that word pantheon again, unapologetically, in this lineup of greats. In the comedy field, what it means to be from Chicago and be in that group. As I mentioned, you can go from Bob Newhart to Bernie Mac, both now gone. Love Bob Newhart, really love Bernie Mac. But Chicago, man, has given us a lot of good laughter over the years.
No, absolutely. I mean, you really can throw Richard Pryor in this as well because he's from Peoria.
You could, absolutely.
From Chicago,
absolutely.
He used to come up there all the time, and you got Robin Harris, and a lot of greats, man, that came from Chicago, man. It's no coincidence that we have been able to tap into comedy art form like we do and to be successful at it. It's no coincidence, We like right in the middle of America. Mm-hmm. We know what it is to we're influenced by the East Coast, the West Coast, down South, Midwest. So we're right here. It's not like we're just like on one coast. We well rounded.
Yeah.
With influence from each one of those coasts, each one of those areas. And so therefore, I just think that we are diverse when it comes to our comedy.
Yeah. Nope, I accept that. Let me ask you right quick to reflect on Blackish. I don't need to color the question much more than that. It's going to be iconic. It is iconic in terms of what it was able to do. But as you reflect on your role now that it's off, talk about Blackish right quick.
Yeah, Blackish was groundbreaking, man. And when you have a show like that, you really don't even know like how impactful it is until you look back later on because you're too busy creating, busy, in the mix of what you're doing or whatever. And then later on, when you look back, when I look at certain reruns and all of that, I go, man, we was on one. Like, it really was. Like, you just never pay attention to it when you're doing it because you're the one doing it. Mm-hmm. So now, when I look at these episodes, I go, wow, we really was pushing the envelope. We really had some good issues and everything.
No, it's going.
Very proud.
No, you should be. You should be proud. It's going to live forever. It's going to be a classic. Already is in many respects. And so I'm just glad that you were part of that iconic series. Our remaining moments with Deion Cole. His new special is called OK Mr. Streaming right now on Netflix. A few more minutes with him here on Tavis Smiley.
Helping to stretch your moral and political imagination. This is Tavis Smiley.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada, member FDIC.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Legal Aid Foundation of Los Angeles is a nonprofit law firm that protects and advances the rights of the most underserved, leveling the playing field and ensuring that everyone can have access to the justice system. Every year, LAFLA provides free, high-quality legal services to more than 100,000 people living in poverty across greater Los Angeles. Their unique combination of neighborhood offices, self-help centers at courthouses, and domestic violence clinics puts Legal Aid Foundation of Los Angeles on the front lines in vulnerable communities and at the forefront of change. LAFLA's expert team of attorneys, paralegals, and support staff works to provide direct representation, offer counsel and advice, provide referrals, and educate the community about their legal rights through workshops and seminars. With locations all over LA, you can access their services or volunteer to help no matter where you live. And if you have an urgent issue, call 213-235-0060. That's 213-235-0060. To get legal help, make a donation, or volunteer, visit lafla.org. lafla.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
Sometimes he fails at fitting in, but we're okay with that. You're inside the Tavis Smiley Show.
You are indeed with Dion Cole, at least for the next 3 minutes. That's all I got left here. I've enjoyed this immensely with Dion. We got 3 minutes left here. Dion, I've been dying to ask you this. When you are the global ambassador for Old Spice, do you get like free body wash the rest of your life?
Yeah. I would never pay for body wash ever again. Yes.
On a serious note, it's a beautiful thing when you are successful enough and your Q rating is high enough that a major brand wants to use you as a spokesperson, as a global ambassador. But it also, you know, it's a beautiful thing when you partner, when you match with the right product, and that thing just works for you, man, or you make it work.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. Shout out to Old Spice, man. They have been so generous, so kind, so great. It is a great brand. Man, we partnered together and shedded a different light on it. And you know, it's been a great partnership, man. It's been wonderful.
No, you working that thing, man. You working it. I see you. I see you all the time, even when I don't want to see you. I say, here come Dion again with some more body wash. You made me try it, man. I saw the commercial, so let me just try this body wash, man. And
actually good.
It's good. It is good. I'm about to say that. You made me try it, and I like the Old Spice body wash. I ain't hating. Let me close on this in the 2.5 minutes. I have 2 minutes I have left, I think. The notepad, as I said earlier, that's one of my favorite parts of the stand-up. How did that notepad segment, that bit come to be?
I used to get so high in Chicago that I could not remember my jokes. And so I would go in there and I would read verbatim how I wrote it. even if it didn't make sense, I would read it like I wrote it, and people would just be dying, and I would just do it and go right to the next joke and right to the next joke. And then one day I came in there and I was on stage and I wasn't high and I remember my material and everybody was like, where's your notepad? And I'm like, oh, I ain't get high today. I was
Yeah.
like, I remember it. And they was like, no. You need that notepad if you want us to laugh. I'm like, what? And so, yeah, it went like that,
I
man.
love it.
And thank you too, man. And shout out to everybody that's watched Okay Mister and shared it and watched it, and everybody that watched my show Average Joe,
Oh, yeah.
which is also on Netflix as well, man. Thank you for everybody watching both of them. Thank you, and thank you, Tavis, for your platform.
No, man, you're kind. It's my honor always to share my platform with you. Any platform I have, you are welcome to be a part of it. Congratulations once again on Average Joe. That's also as you heard him say, streaming. But the Netflix comedy special is called Okay Mister, and I can assure you that I won't lead you astray. You will laugh your butt off when you see Okay Mister. Dion, I'm glad we got this in, man. Thank you. I know you're busy, brother. I deeply appreciate your time, man. It means a lot. You gave me an hour. I mean that sincerely, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right, bye. Thank you, man.
Stay strong. Just like that, 3 hours gone. Back here tomorrow, Lord willing, to do it all over again. Until tomorrow, thanks for tuning in to Tavis Smiley, and as always, keep the faith.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.